Hey guys, Ellie here. So, you know how back then and kind of right now, the practice for casting a shadow on a design is through kind of like the drop shadow effect on Canva or on Photoshop, whatever it may be. And yes, most of the time that does look really nice, but I'm going to show you a different way that actually might be a little more accurate for casting a shadow on a product. So this is an example of one that I'm going to take. It's just a perfect example of one. You can take really any of them, but you know what? This might look actually nice and cleaner so we can kind of see it. I'm going to go in and I'm just going to grab this image right here. And to do that, I'll go into inspect element, since in my inspect element, hover over the element. Not sure why it's not hovering. Maybe they have some right click effect here. Let's go in and let's actually inspect this part of the element. Well, that was a bad example. Let's go in. I don't know if I can actually pull this image here. Okay, right here. So it's right here and I'm just going to click into it. So that took a little bit, but not sure why. I'm going to go in and just copy this and put this in my Photoshop here. So I have this and I'm going to go in to my Photoshop. I'm actually going to go and open a new board. So it looks like this canvas size, if you ever want to know, is going to canvas size, image canvas size, and you'll see right here it is 1000 by 1000, which is a good square size as well, dimension for Shopify. It can also be 1200 by 1200, 900 by 900, but you never really want it to be 2048 by 2000 or 2048 by 2048. I transpose my numbers all the time, guys. I'm so sorry. All right, so here, so technically, if I go into like the layer here, for example, and I put in drop shadow and I click into here, and then let's see if there will be a drop shadow effect. So we can do kind of like a distance here, a size. You know, I don't particularly like this kind of effect of the drop shadow. Let's just go and remove this background. So we'll just go and remove this. Could not find, I have to be on the right layer for it. You can kind of see how I work around it. So let's go back into here and see if there is a drop shadow. So notice again that the drop shadow, when I toggle it on, gives that little cool effect, but it doesn't really completely make sense because of the fact that if I go into drop shadow, let's, increase the opacity a little bit just so you can kind of see it and the distance. So notice how we can, make it that actually looks pretty nice if we want it kind of like coming back in a 3D effect. So then we would kind of lower the opacity to make it a little bit more real. But today I'm going to show you using a different technique, a different method, how to make it like if it's standing up like this, upright, and kind of like a drawing, casting right around here method. So we're going to go and you know what, we'll keep this just so we can kind of see it, and we're going to go and create another layer, and then from here we're going to actually use our brush tool. And don't worry, it can be kind of messy-ish, but we just want to make sure, and obviously we can change it up a little bit here. So I'm creating a new layer. I'm creating a new layer here, and if you ever mess up, just do Control Z. It goes back and reverts back to the previous edit. Now, obviously, this is a little bit messy here, so what I could do is have it kind of go behind that layer, and I'm going to actually make it a little more realistic, like so. And then after that, I'm done. Excuse me. I'm not done, actually. So, excuse me for that. Jeez. After that, we're not going to do gradient tool because that's not what we exactly want. It's just going to give, this is a cool effect as well, but we're not going to do that effect. We're going to go back to the brush tool itself. We're going to make sure that the layer is highlighted here, and we're going to go and do and go into our what's it called, filter, and we can go into the blur, and we'll just do a Gaussian blur just to kind of see what that looks like. And it already kind of looks pretty nice, but so what I'm going to do is enter this. There are some buttons here. We're just going to go and remove that drop shadow because I don't like that very much. And what we're going to do again is go into the layer here, and you can just kind of click on the eye and off the eye just to kind of give that effect or not. Kind of same method as Shopify, the eye displaying, eye not displaying is not displaying. So we're going to go to the layer here, and we're going to go into the filter Gaussian blur, or you can check out the other blurs here, blur, and let's do Gaussian blur, and it gives us kind of like a nice pop-up, and also choosing the kind of style we want and the harshness of it. So I mean, that I like, because right here, depending on what your shape is on that layer, obviously you wouldn't do something like this, not realistic at all. We're just trying to give some depth with this like a cylinder kind of cup here. So we're going to do okay, and we're also going to relocate this and kind of play around with it. We can also kind of play and do different shapes with it. So when you move it, when you move it without pressing the shift key, it's going to just adapt to the size of what you want. But if you press the shift key, then you can change up the height and the size and the dimensions and kind of warp the image itself. So technically it would be more or less like around here. Let's say we press enter, and we can kind of see what it looks like with the white screen, if you have that white screen or the eggshell white screen. Now you do see that because it's a shadow and it was at the end of it, we can just kind of like make it to the very edge of it in a sense. And also let's just raise it up, so obviously the shadow wouldn't be here. You kind of have to take in consideration of you know, playing around with where actually it would be casting. And if you have any questions, put your product in front of a in the light and see how the shadow is casting. And so I kind of like that, but just want to show you. So again, kind of give some 3D effect. If you want to ever like play around again with like the darkness, lightness of it, go back into the Gaussian filter, Gaussian, and play around with it. Even that is pretty nice, pretty subtle, and it does make the difference. It really does make a difference when you take time and effort into each of your product images. Again, because of the fact that your customers do not have the product at hand, you're convincing your products through the description and through the product images, whether it be product images, a GIF, a video, or a 3D render of your image. That is, and also reviews, before and after reviews, or before and afters, reviews, things like that. Everything plays into a part when a customer makes their final choice to make a sale. So if you aren't doing this part, if you aren't you know, really taking time and giving your product some TLC, then I would definitely look into that and make a little more effort with that part. So obviously I would go a little more subtle depending on, you know, how I wanted, but again, it works really well with white background or eggshell white, depending on what your background choice is. But hope this helps a little bit, and thank you.